scary.
Reddit. It's the front page of the internet. A place where you can find communities of like-minded people talking about their favorite hobbies, their interests, even about themselves. Occasionally, however, they do share a little too much. Today we're examining 3 posts from the dark side of Reddit. So get your favorite drink ready.
It's Reddit,
Snuggle
dude.
up,
Let's fucking go.
because we're about to dive into some dark digital waters.
Dude, Reddit always has like, I really hope they're actually decent, all right? Because Reddit comes out with the shitters, with the shitty scary stories. Lost tapes? We do need to do that.
r/oddly terrifying is a subreddit that's easy to get lost in for an hour or two. As the name suggests, it focuses on things that are unexpectedly unsettling. Scrolling down, you'll find loads of weird insects, animatronics, and this guy doing his thing. And for the most part, there's a light-hearted playfulness to all of the images and videos there. All of the weird and wacky things you might stumble across on Oddly Terrifying. Occasionally, you'll find a post that's legitimately horrifying.
Ew.
Last year, user Menses posted this video of a suspected rabies patient. The patient's displaying one of the signature symptoms of rabies: hydrophobia, an intense fear of water.
That's a thing? Oh my god.
Now, I have to admit that although I knew rabies was deadly,
Holy
I didn't exactly
shit.
know what it did to the human body or the human mind. The fact
Audio's
that it
low
caused
on
you to be
vid, it's
scared
all the
of
way
water
up.
was news to me. So I went down to the comment section and dug a little further. That's where I found a link to a post made by
I've seen
user
people
Zen
allergic to water.
Masters,
I've heard of
a
that.
person who spent a lot of time working with rabies and is far more knowledgeable than most on the subject. And trust me when I say that their post is as bone-chilling as it is enlightening. Here's what they had to say. Rabies. It's exceptionally common, but people just don't run into the animals that carry it often. Skunks especially, and bats. Let me paint you a picture. You go camping, and at midday, you decide to take a nap in a nice little hammock. While sleeping, a tiny brown bat, in the rage stages of infection, is fidgeting in broad daylight, uncomfortable and thirsty due to the hydrophobia, and you snort, startling him. He goes into attack mode. Except you're asleep, and he's a little brown bat, so weighs around 6 grams. You don't even feel him land on your bare knee, and he starts to bite. His teeth are tiny, hardly enough to even break the skin, but he manages to make the equivalent of a tiny scrape that goes completely unnoticed. Rabies does not travel in your blood. In fact, a blood test won't even tell you if you've got it. You wake up, none the wiser. If you notice anything at the bite side at all, you assume you just lightly scraped it on something. The bomb has been lit, and your nervous system is the wick. No symptoms. It may be 4 days, it may be a year, but the camping trip is most likely long forgotten. Then one day, your back starts to ache, or maybe you get a slight headache. At this point, you're already dead.
Oh god.
There is no cure.
What's the meal? Buffalo
The sole
chicken.
caveat
Perfect
to this
time to
is the
eat.
Milwaukee Protocol, which leaves most patients dead anyway, and the survivors mentally disabled, and is seldom done. There's no treatment. It has a 100% kill rate. Absorb that. Not a single other virus on this planet has a 100% kill rate.
Rabies has a 100% kill rate? Once clinical symptoms appear, rabies is virtually 100% fatal. Oh my god. Really? Without treatment? That's
Only
awful.
rabies. And once you're symptomatic, it's over. You're dead. So, what does that look like? Your headache turns into a fever, and a general feeling of being unwell. You're fidgety, uncomfortable.
It's the closest thing to a zombie apocalypse movie.
As the virus that has taken its time getting into your brain finds a vast network of nerve endings, it begins to rapidly reproduce, starting at the base of your brain, where your pons is located. This is the part of the brain that controls communication between the rest of the brain and body, as well as sleep cycles. Next, you become anxious. You still think you only have a mild fever, but suddenly you find yourself becoming scared, even horrified, and it doesn't occur to you that you don't know why.
This is sad.
This is because the rabies is chewing up
I don't
your
want
amygdala.
this.
As your cerebellum becomes hot with the virus, you begin to lose muscle coordination and balance. You think maybe it's a good idea to go to the doctor now, but assuming a doctor is smart enough to even run the tests necessary in the few days you have left on the planet, odds are they'll only be able to tell your loved ones what you died of later. You're
Makes the
twitchy,
host avoid water
shaky,
at all
and
costs.
scared. You have the normal fear of
That's
not
so
knowing what's
weird.
going on, but with the virus really fucking with your amygdala, this is amplified 100-fold. It's around this time the hydrophobia starts. You're horribly thirsty. You just want water, but you can't drink.
That's so weird.
Every time you do, your throat clamps shut and you vomit. This has become a legitimate, active fear of water. You're thirsty, but looking at a glass of water begins to make you gag, and you shy back in fear. The contradiction is hard for your hot brain to see at this point. By now, the doctors will have put you on IVs to keep you hydrated, but even that's futile. You were dead the second you had a headache.
That's
You begin hearing
fucking
things,
scary.
or not hearing things at all as your thalamus goes. You taste sounds.
What the hell?
You see smells. Everything starts feeling like the most horrifying acid trip anyone has ever been on.
It's so confusing to me that a
Your
disease
hippocampus
can
long
make you
under
be
attack.
afraid of
You're having
something.
trouble remembering things, especially family. You're alone, hallucinating, thirsty, confused, and absolutely, undeniably terrified. Everything scares the literal shit out of you at this point. These strange people in lab coats. These strange people standing around you crying, who keep trying to get you to drink something. And it's only been about a week since that little headache you've completely forgotten. Time means nothing to you anymore. Funnily enough, you now know how the bat felt when he bit you. Eventually, you slip into the dumb rabies phase. Your brain has started the process of shutting down. Too much of it has turned to liquid virus. Your face droops. You drool. You're all but unaware of what's around you.
Okay, I can't. I literally, like, why, I don't know why is that not known as much? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that should be common knowledge. Am I just stupid? No way. There's no way I'm stupid. I'm not stupid, right? Am I stupid? Yes or no? Rabies is pretty rare, I think. Yep, no, not really. I guess just no one around you ever talked about rabies much. Me? Stupid? How? How is this possible? There's no way.
Participated a lot in conversations with other parents, discussing family finances, recipes, parenting strategies, and the like. It's clear from her message history that she was a devoted family woman and parent.
Impossible.
For instance, she posted, "Life is about making good job or income choices, and then making the best money choices based on your income. I would never give up having any of my children so I could have more money. They are amazing people, and the world will benefit by having them in it, and nothing I could buy or invest in could compare to giving a person a chance to have a life." Touching stuff. The thing is, Malky Mum was a very active user 6 years ago, but then, on June 24th, 2015, she made her final post on the site, and then suddenly became inactive.
Now that in itself isn't too unusual. I mean, people leave Reddit for all kinds of reasons, right? Maybe she got bored or busy.
I didn't know rabies was that bad either.
The reason behind her disappearance was much darker in nature.
You see, Alki Mum's real name was April Bever. She was 42 years old and was indeed the mother of 7 children. She was also one of the victims in the Broken Arrow killings, in which she, her husband, and 3 of her children were slain.
What?
And what's more, it was 2 of her sons that committed the massacre. On the night of July 22nd, 2015, brothers Robert and Michael Bever, 18 and 16 respectively,
I feel like I've heard of this
lured
one.
their family members into the same part of the house, then suddenly and inexplicably began attacking them with hatchets and other
I
blades.
remember this.
April was punctured 48 times in the neck, head, torso, arms, and hands.
I haven't
Her
heard about
husband
this.
David was punctured 28 times. Daniel Bever,
Oh, that's great.
Christopher Bever, 7, and Victoria Bever, 5, also lost their lives that fateful night.
Yeah, they forgot
The
to
two
kill the
brothers also tried
baby.
to slay their sister, Crystal, 13. But even though her throat was slit and her stomach punctured, she not only managed to survive, but was able to call the authorities for help.
Ah, okay, yeah.
Officers arrived in time to save her life and apprehend Robert and Michael. Autumn Bever, who was only 2, was sound asleep and unharmed in another room.
They were actually going to kill her,
Robert
but they
confessed to
forgot.
what he and his brother had done, and even stated that had the police not arrived, they were planning to drive around the area and kill 5 people each at various locations until they reached a body count of 50 people. Michael took things further, saying he wanted to claim the lives of 500 people. An outlandish target, but who knows how many lives Crystal saved.
How do you go without knowing your child's insane like this? You know, like I don't know. Maybe they just had no idea. But wait, weren't these the kids that like bought a bunch of armor? Like, didn't they buy like a bunch of weapons and their parents just like didn't notice or something? I forget. Or maybe that was someone else. 7 kids? I mean, I guess that's true. Yeah. When you have 7 kids, I guess you're bound to neglect some of them. I wouldn't even say neglect, but just like not pay attention to what they're doing.
By calling the police. Almost certainly not just her own. Reading through Aokimum's old, ordinary Reddit posts is absolutely heart-wrenching, knowing what ultimately became of her.
People don't
She
take
wrote
their
about
kids'
herself
mental
so
health
warmly.
seriously. Dude, nobody takes mental health seriously, it feels like. Especially parents. But I'm not blaming the parents for this, but I'm just saying, like, you know.
And lovingly, but in the end, they were the ones who not only took her life, but the lives of the rest of her family that she loved so much too.
I couldn't imagine.
Both Robert and
Dear
Michael
Lord.
were sentenced to life. Michael with the possibility of parole, Robert without. They're serving their time in separate correctional centers.
Why did one get the option of parole and one didn't? That's weird.
When we're behind our screens, interacting with strangers online, it's easy to feel this sense of anonymity. Like we can
Really
get away
cheery
with saying
time for me
whatever
to
we
tune
want
into the
to
stream,
whoever we
true.
want. That really isn't the case though, especially on sites like Reddit. In the past, there have been numerous instances of people making posts, safe in the belief that there won't be any consequences. Time and again, however, those people have been proven wrong.
There have been people who have confessed to cheating on their partners, only for another user to check out their history, connect a few dots, and realize that it's actually John who's married to their sister. There have been people who have gotten into arguments with other users, said the most vulgar things,
Yep.
only for the other person to find out who they are and get them fired from their job.
Yep.
Even if you use a throwaway account, sometimes a group of Reddit detectives will come together to uncover your real identity. That is, if the post you made warrants such drastic action. Some users have even been tracked down and questioned by the authorities, or even jailed for admitting to their unlawful actions.
Yep.
Despite that, thousands of people continue to wear their dirty laundry every day on the site. Of course, most of these confessions are nothing too serious. There are, however, exceptions to that.
Someone killed someone
5 years ago,
for calling,
on r/r
for saying your mom.
User Purple Gherkins asked this question. To those of you who have accidentally killed someone, what went wrong?
What?
Of the more than 10,000 replies, most of them were either not personal accounts, accidental motor collisions, or instances where the user was either defending themselves or otherwise justified in their actions. Interesting reads, sure, but nothing nefarious. But buried in amongst all the replies was one that was very different.
A troll?
One that eventually caught everyone's attention. A response left by user Archaeology. This
What a
still
name.
haunts me to this day. As kids, we had a
Archaeology.
home in this dirt cliff cove kind of thing. This is the best approximation I can find on Google, only 3 times taller and probably 10 times as wide. There was a neighborhood kid who, in hindsight, was probably mentally handicapped in some way, but to us he was just the weird, creepy kid. This was the 80s, and we weren't exactly raised PC.
Not the
Three of us were
name
headed to our beds
Barchaeology.
and found creepy kids sitting at the
It's just
top
how he said it. The user's name, Barchaeology.
in our guard chair. We yelled at him to get out, and he said something like, "Make me," and started lobbing dirt clods and sticks down at us. We all ran around the side to make our way up. It gets pretty fuzzy here, but all I remember is he fell. I still remember the sound. When we got back down to check on him, he was in a very awkward position, with blood coming out of his mouth. We all just freaked out and ran home, and as far as I know, no one has spoken a word of this to anyone. We didn't go back for over a month, and never said a word of it between us. Again, this was the 80s, so media wasn't like today. Chances are it got a small article in the newspaper B section.
Okay.
Missing mentally disabled child found dead after fall, or something like that.
That's just kind of sad.
Some users sympathized with Barkiology's story, while others started questioning whether the other kid fell accidentally, or if he was pushed. Again, Barkiology
Accidentally
said that his
killed,
memory was
yes.
fuzzy, but given the title of the thread, many speculated that it was the latter. But through his main comment, and various others that he left, Barkiology had given several key tidbits of identifying information.
Shrouded
And
hand
behind the
covered this
scenes,
one? Really?
Other editors were doing some sleuthing. One of them seemingly worked out who the victim was. Was it Scott Cleeshold? He went missing in 1988 in St. Charles, MO, correct? That would make you around 10 or 11 at the time
I'm near St. Charles, Missouri. That's sussy. That's
he went
weird.
missing. He would have been 9. Scott was
I'm not,
last
like,
seen not far
super
from his
near,
home
but I
in the
know where that is.
3300 block of Lavernus Drive, walking near a wooded area known as the Trails. It was just before a fierce thunderstorm swept through the area. As long as 6 weeks after his disappearance, police conducted large-scale searches of the area near Scott's home. The searches involved digging at a labyrinth of caves in the wooded hillside where Scott was known to play with other neighborhood children. I don't know if it is this kid. If it were him, and if the story is what you said, it seems likely his body would have been found. A corpse of a 9-year-old at the bottom of some land formation can get washed away pretty easily in a storm, however. If it is or isn't him, you need to talk to your local PD. This discovery may have hit a nerve, because it was at that point that Barkiology deleted his original confession.
Yikes.
His account
He got
has
caught?
since remained inactive for the past 5 years, and he offered up no further information about the incident. As it stands, it's unclear what happened to Barkiology, whether there was more to his story, or if he ever brought the matter up with the authorities. It's also unknown whether Scott Cleeshold was really the victim in question.
But this post, and thousands like it, prove that you never know what skeletons someone might be hiding in their closet.
That's big yikers, dude. To be fair, I always take Reddit with a grain of salt because the majority of shit in there is garbage and just memes at the end of the day, but you never know.
Now it's time to walk away. I hope you enjoyed your stay. Did you laugh or cry or maybe subscribed? I'll thank you either way. You know I will miss you. I hope you return. Tell your friend or your mother to get me more views, please.